welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name's Chelsea, and if you're new around here, would like to do beauty related content on this channel. If that's something that you like, then please hit subscribe, and if you're already subscribed, then please click on the little bell and you'll be notified of every time that I upload. So today's video, we're going to be ranking all the palettes that I tried in 2022. I was about to say 2021 then. 2022, and there has been 19. So not overly many, but a good amount still. Well, it's more than one a month, nearly 2 a month. But I have been a bit slack actually with my YouTube channel this year. I was going through my palette drawers and to dig out these palettes, and I've got so many palettes that I've never used before. So let me know if you want me to do a video on all the palettes that I've never used, so I can talk through all the ones and show you the ones that I've not used, and then do videos on them if you want to see them. Let me know if that's something that you want to do. But yeah, I'm going to stop rambling because this could potentially be a long video. So grab a cup of cocoa or whatever, get comfy, and hope you enjoy. So at number 19 is the Beauty Crop Cocoa Paradise palette. So this is the one that I played with when I done my full face of new Beauty Crop products, which was a few months ago, and I'll be honest, I've not used it since. I mean, it's not really that pigmented, to be honest. Like, the shimmers are very lackluster, quite hard pressed, and yeah, it's probably one that I will end up decluttering, but it was the only eyeshadow palette that I brought from my Beauty Crop haul, therefore that is why I used it. It came in the set with the face palettes, and the face palettes, I mean, are amazing, but this eyeshadow palette is very lackluster, so that is why it's number 19. Number 18 is the Artitude Cosmetics Colour Splash. So this is what it looks like, and it is a very pretty rainbow palette. The shimmers are so pigmented, the mattes are buttery, like there's nothing wrong with the formula. It's just literally a palette that I don't really reach for compared to the rest of these palettes that are here. So that's the only reason. There's nothing actually wrong with it. And Artitude Cosmetics is an amazing UK indie brand, and you can create so many looks with this palette as well, because you've got a few neutrals and then you've got your brights and you've got really beautiful shimmers. But yeah, I just never really reached for it, so I do need to play with it around again. But out of this bunch, that's one that I don't really reach for, therefore it is number 18. And then we've got number 17, which is Techno Days from Beauty Bay, and this is a 8 pan palette, which has a beautiful colour story, really good formulas, but it's just quite limited as to what you can create. It's very hard to create a look with just this palette. It's a great addition to other palettes, but that is why it is at number 17. And it's a really funky summer palette, to be fair, like especially if you're going to a festival or a rave or something like that, these would be amazing colours to use. And like I say, the formula is absolutely fine, but it's just very limited to what you can do with it. And then at number 16, we've got the Beauty Bay Love Notes palette, which came out in February last year, I believe, for Valentine's Day. And it gives me Bridgerton vibes. I did do a video on this, and it was a really cute look, but the colour story just doesn't really scream to me compared to the other shades. I mean, it's a very pretty palette, really beautiful shimmers, the standard Beauty Bay mattes, there's a few swatches there, but it's just very, do you know what I mean? It's not really got much depth to it, which is what I actually like. So that one is number 16. I have to keep referring to my notes, otherwise I get all muddled up. And then we have 15, another Beauty Bay palette. I did do a lot of Beauty Bay palettes this year. So Age of Opulence, which is what I tested out at the beginning of the year. This was from their Christmas collection last year, and this is very bejeweled kind of colours. There is a lot of depth compared to Love Note, and it's got some really stunning shades. But if I'm honest, I haven't really reached for it since my video back in January. So I haven't actually touched it since January, which is really bad because I feel like the mattes are so much bolder and beautiful. They pack a punch, and the mattes in this palette are amazing. Number 14 is the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette, and this gives me the Beauty Bay Love Notes palette vibes. Like, it's quite pastel-y and mauvey and wishy-washy and not really much depth. You've only got really one dark colour there, but the shimmers in this are insane. Like, they're so beautiful. Like, this one's like a duochrome one. You've got the different texture in here, like the jelly shade in there. And yeah, it is a really pretty palette, but again, it's a colour story that I don't reach for as much, but I don't know why, because it's got really nice soft mauvey, which I think will be perfect for everyday wear. But just look at those. I do definitely need to play with it again. They just look beautiful. Like, they are stunning shades. I feel like Huda does use a really nice, look at that chocolate, really nice eyeshadows in their large palettes, and that's why I'm so excited to play around with her Empowered palette, which I recently got. So number 13 is the P. Louise Watch the Queen Concord palette. So this was the start of the 2 palettes in one that P. Louise came out with, and it is, I don't know why, it's randomly got a chessboard in it. It's quite bulky packaging, but like I say, you do get 2 palettes in one. However, I feel like there is a way that you can do it a bit more thinner. Some of the shades in here are beautiful, very bright and bold, but I prefer her other palettes to be honest, and I've tested out a few of her palettes this year. Like this side, I'm not that keen on. I never reached for it. I don't like the colour story, and I feel like she's now redoing the colour story for these palettes, but like better. Like this side reminds me a bit of like the Money Shot kind of, even though it's got like reds and stuff, but like the greens and the browns and the olivey tones are like the Money Shot palette, which she's done better. And then this side, pretty sure I've seen that she's done a all purple palette. I'm pretty sure that's the one that I saw in her story. I do really like it, really good formula. I love P. Louise palettes, but the other palettes I reach for more, and I'm still on the fence about this colour story. But yeah, I've got a select few that I reach for all the time. So at number 12, got another P. Louise palette, and this is the Love Affair. And I don't know why, but I never really gravitate towards red eyeshadow. Some of these shades are beautiful. I tend to go towards red more on Valentine's. The Valentine's Day special is definitely a red. But I feel like red does go really nicely with green eyes, so I do want to play with it more. And then at 11, we've got the Jeffree Star Banana Fetish palette, which I haven't brought a Jeffree Star palette in ages. This is the only one I've bought this year. I love the packaging, it's so thin and sleek, and I love the fact when they fold, like the lid folds all the way back, so then you can kind of hold it like this, hold it like that, or hold it like this. Do you know what I mean? Like the Vive one. I love that. And I love the colour story in this. The only thing that I don't like, what puts me off it, I don't like the pink and I don't like the blue. I feel like we didn't need those, and which is what I said in my video as well. But like this shade here is stunning. I love like a yellowy gold. I love these chocolatey browns. I like this mustard shade is beautiful, and this star split shade is stunning as well. And then you've got like the rich chocolatey brown tones. Yeah, I really do love the colour story in this. The formulas are really good. I just feel like the pink and the blue is just irrelevant. Yeah, love that one for like a very I use this kind of palette for a glam going out look. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. So at number 10, we've got the Beauty Bay Berries palette, which is stunning. I've done a few videos on this, and like this row down here, like these 2 rows here, are what called my name when it came to this palette. The only thing is, it's just such a big palette. It's such a big palette. It's not one that I probably would travel with. And obviously you are quite limited to the looks that you can create to a certain extent. Obviously it's got to be pinky berry toned, but then if that's what you want, then obviously there's so much variety of that kind of spectrum that you can create. And the formula in here is excellent, beautiful, absolutely stunning palette. Really beautiful shimmers. The mattes are so buttery, but yeah, it's just a very large palette. It's hard to store sometimes when you've got quite a few of these kind of palettes, but then they're very good for people that are on a budget that need these kind of colours, like especially makeup artists and stuff. Like Beauty Bay large palettes would make an amazing palettes for makeup artists that want to kind of just condense it all the colours that they need in like 4 palettes. You could do that one, the nude one, the bright one, and like a different kind of one as well. Next we have another P. Louise palette, and this is Lady in Charge. So this palette, I feel like it's a really nice colour story, but it's all a bit samey, but the thing that stole the show for me is this shade here. It's absolutely beautiful, and I feel like it just goes on for days. Oh, it's just so beautiful, and I feel like it's a shade that's not really been done in any of her palettes before, whereas some of the other shades are quite like samey, but for that shade alone is why I absolutely love that palette. And these are just so nice. Like the formula of these mattes are so buttery, and even that shimmer as well is just absolutely beautiful. So yeah, definitely do recommend these Love Tape palettes because they're so compact but so good. Like, you can create a few different looks with these little palettes, and they're so pigmented as well, yeah, so affordable. And then number 8, we've got the Makeup by Mario Master palette. So this is what it looks like here. It's a really beautiful neutral palette. You've got 3, 6, 9, 12 shades. It's very compact, so it's good for when you're traveling. You've got everything that you need. They blend beautifully. They make really good eyebrow shades as well, which is a good thing because it's quite a multi-use product, but it's just Bob Basic, yeah, it's quite expensive and it's so small. So that's mainly why I've ranked it at this high. Like, there was one point where I used this all the time whenever I went out. I've got other palettes here that you get more for your money and therefore is better in my eyes. But yeah, nothing wrong with the palette, it's just you don't get as much for your money because it's quite expensive. And then at number 7, we've got another P. Louise palette. I know, I've still got 2 more in this little pile, but this is the Going Solo palette, and it's got all your cool toned and grey fantasies in this one palette. I mean, look at this shimmer. It's like liquid silver. Look at that. It is beautiful. I feel like if you've got a palette like this, then you don't need heaps of cool tones. It's got every grey that you need, even a really good black as well, like that is pitch black. The formula is excellent, the shimmers are beautiful, and yeah, it's just a really good cool toned grey palette. Like, it has everything that I need to create a grey eyeshadow look, to be honest, which isn't very often, otherwise it would have been higher. But yeah, I would love to see like a cool toned brown version of this from P. Louise in the Love Tape kind of packaging. And yeah, I love these kind of palettes, like I just said. And at number 6, we've got the Money Shop palette from P. Louise. Now these, the downfall about these is how bulky they are. They're very hard to like take away with you or anything like that, but the fact that you get 2 palettes in one is insane. So we've got this side and we've got this side, which I have created a few videos on, but this side is a side that stole my heart. It's given me very melt, grungy kind of vibes. The shimmers are excellent in these. They're absolutely beautiful. The mattes are insane. It's just the basic normal P. Louise formula that we can expect, that I've said for all of these palettes. The only thing is, obviously, it's just for greens. So if you don't like green eyeshadow, you're not really going to like this palette. And yeah, so again, it's just because it's a monochrome palette, it can be quite limited to what you can actually create. Then at number 5, we've got another Beauty Bay palette. This is the Dark Fantasy, which is quite new. This is their Christmas collection, which came out actually around Halloween, and I feel like it should have been the Halloween collection, but it's got some beautiful shades in. I actually used one of the shades today on my eyes just for a neutral look, and the shimmers are beautiful in this. It's like quite a unique colour story as well. It's given my grunge fantasies a little taste to play around with, and yeah, there's so many looks that you can create because it's got so much depth, yet such different tones in it. The only thing is, it hasn't got a lot of blending out shades, so you kind of, well, you probably will need to use something else alongside with it. However, it's just such a stunning palette that I don't even care about that. I just love this. I will treasure this one. This is my favourite Beauty Bay palette ever. Now we're down to the top 4, and at number 4 we've got the Made by Mitchell Where the Mangoes palette, and this is what it looks like, and this is inside. And you were thinking, oh, it's just a rainbow palette, but it's not just any rainbow palette. I love these tones of rainbows, like the tropical blues, and then you've got this purple and this green. It is beautiful. Now about this palette, there are probably the other palettes that could have gone higher than this one, but this one is, it's not for, like, that one's nice, that one's nice, yeah, that green one is just insane, but it's mainly for the matte. I absolutely love the matte in this eyeshadow palette. They're really nice tones. They blend out beautifully. Large pans. I love the packaging as well. The packaging is absolutely stunning. And yeah, when I'm thinking of like a tropical look, then this is the palette that I have in mind. You can still do neutral because there's a few neutral shades in here as well, but yeah, I just think it's a really nice palette and it's quite affordable as well. Now at number 3 we've got the Jordana T-shirt Nude Divinity palette. Now this palette has replaced the Makeup by Mario one in my eyes for like a nude palette that I need. So this is the palette that I'll take away with me. It's a bit battered because I use it all the time. It's in my everyday drawer. I use it today. It's just got every tone of nude that I need to lighten, to darken, to transition, to blend out. I sometimes use it as bronzer, use it as nose contour. I use it as like a setting powder, like these bottom eyeshadows here. I just think it's a beautiful palette. It's got everything that I need and it is an essential. Like this is a palette that I class as an essential for me. I feel like it's one that I will take away with me. If I only needed one palette, then you know it would be up there with one of the ones that I would need. But number 2 is the P. Louise If the Crown Fits palette, because my god, this is stunning. I just hate the packaging, but because these are such good eyeshadows, I don't care. So this is the top half and then you've got the second half, which is a pull out drawer. That's all got your peaches. But then I just love the top half the most because when I'm doing someone's makeup, I love the P. Louise shadows for it because the formula for the shimmers are so buttery that they just apply so beautifully onto the eye. So yeah, so if I ever need a shimmer shadow or when I'm doing someone's makeup, I always reach for the P. Louise ones. I've got black, I've got transitions, I've got options, and because you've got the second palette as well, it means that you don't need to dig into so many different palettes because I've got everything that I need in one palette, like literally everything that I need. And yeah, I think it's a beautiful palette. It's very neutral, which is what I tend to gravitate towards more when I go out or if I'm doing someone else's makeup. I always go for a neutral palette. So I just feel like this is the prettiest palette in my collection at the moment. And yeah, absolutely love it. And then last but not least, so number 1, the top spot, which it only has a few eyeshadows in, but it is the palette that I've used most this year. It is the Doll Beauty Artist Collection palette. Inside, you've got your bronzers, your blushes, your highlighters, your eyeshadows, and your lipsticks. You've got everything you need in one palette, and I use this every day. So I either go between this one or the Jordana one for like literally every day because I'll put, you can see the dip in it, but I put this shade in my crease every day, run it down my nose. I use the bronzers every day. This blush here, which is Holiday, is perfection. It's like that pinky corally with a gold shimmer to it. The highlighters are immaculate. They're just stunning. The only thing that I don't really use, I don't really go for the lipsticks. I feel like the lipsticks can be a little bit dry on my lips because my lips are quite dry anyway, but I feel like the only thing that could benefit from this palette is for the lipsticks to have that little plastic case over it, you know, like what you get in the Patrick Tar palettes when you got the 2 creams and you got the casing to go over them. I feel like these lipsticks could have done with that because otherwise I get so much eyeshadow in them, it just doesn't look that nice. But yeah, I don't really reach for the lipsticks anyway. I always tend to go for something else when it comes to lips, but everything else I use to death. Even this pale shade, look how pigmented that is. It's stunning. It's just so pigmented. You get a lot of kickback, but the shades are literally unreal. They are my essentials. Like this is my essentials palette, and it tends to be one that I do actually take away with me because then it means I don't have to take bronzers, I don't have to take blush, I don't have to take highlighters, I don't have to take an eyeshadow palette. Like I've literally got it all in one thing here. So all I take is this and my creams. And that is it, because that's all I need. Because even though it hasn't got a shimmer shadow, I'll just use the highlighter or something like that as like a shimmer shade if needed. But yeah, this is literally my top palette for 2022 and it's one that I will continue to use, and I just hope, I think it might be limited edition as well. I don't know if they sell this anymore, which is quite sad, but yeah, it's an essential for me. And that is it. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you got this far. If you did, please give yourself a round of applause. Don't forget to hit subscribe and also give this video a big thumbs up. Let me know down below any of these palettes your favourites, or what is your ultimate favourite palette from 2022, as I'd love to know. And yeah, I've got a few more palettes to add into my collection, which is exciting stuff, so who knows what next year will hold. So thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I shall see you in my next video. Bye!